I will now move on to the next question, and I give the floor to the Honourable Rotemo Mukepa, Leader of Opposition.
Honourable Speaker, may I ask the question directed to the Minister for Infrastructure and Transport? Can the Minister confirm the government's road building plans for Tailevu South and Rewa River Delta areas? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister for Infrastructure and Transport.
Speaker, I thank the Honourable Leader of the Opposition for her question, and with all the hype of the previous question, I'm not sure if mine's going to be boring in terms of the answer I'm going to give. But roading, nevertheless, is still a very is a critical area of government essential service to the people, and the question specifically relates to roads that are within the areas of Tailevu South and Rewa River Delta areas. But Speaker, before I outline to the House specifically those areas where we are doing work with regards to the areas in Tailevu South and Rewa Delta, I would like to note first to the House statements that I've made previously as ministerial statements in the sitting before about the functions of the Fiji Roads Authority, and in particular the ministerial statement I made yesterday about what Fiji Roads Authority and government is doing and the rationale behind it in the development of rural roads. And most of the roads that I'm going to be referring to today, being the subject of the question that's raised by the Leader of the Opposition, are in the rural areas. Madam Speaker, Fiji Roads Authority has a long-term plan. And in fact, it is 10 years and beyond. And this is essentially for recovering our previously neglected network of roads and bridges and jetties, and I had alluded to this earlier. Essentially, because we need this long-term planning because the demand is so great and the resources are meager. But we still need to do the roads nevertheless because they help get the children to school, they provide communities with new opportunities, and they become more socially and economically active. The Fiji Roads Authority's work program is made up of a whole range of activities, and I had alluded to that earlier yesterday, and I'm not going to repeat that. But one of the most essential areas the Fiji Roads Authority work is the management of its assets. This has been, I believe personally, has been one of the main reasons why our roads have been left to such a deteriorating state, because roads were cut and were never really given the resources to keep them in good running state in so many years previously. Now, in the management of the assets, I would just like to elaborate on that and what are some of the essential works that deals with that. This includes the regular resurfacing of our roads, both gravel and Tassil, to extend their life well into the future. Secondly, cutting back vegetation to keep the roads clear and open. Fixing the potholes to prevent damages to cars, trucks, buses, and repainting the lines. Also clearing drainages to avoid flooding and damage to the road structure. And also all the other things that we take for granted but are essential to keeping our roads in conditions in better conditions than they were kept in the past. Now, Madam Speaker, coming to perhaps the focal point of where the question is directed in terms of Tailevu South and Rewa Delta, these are roads that are in the central division, in the low-lying areas. And of course, these networks of road has their own challenges for maintenance. And also, we are looking at areas where we'll be providing new access to areas within Tailevu South and the Rewa Delta that do not currently have access. And I'm going to allude to that later. Starting in 2015, FRA looking at new ways of ensuring the roads survive flooding events. And this is a concern in the areas that I've mentioned. because they are very, very prone to flooding. And the idea is that to looking at these new ways to survive so that buses and cars could still use this road after the event of a flood. The FRA will develop and start to implement a plan for the Delta's road network that will include improved pavements, with some roads being raised above flooding levels, as I've said earlier. They will also look at rerouting parts of the King's Road to ensure that long-term erosion does not threaten the resilience of this key economic corridor to northern Tailevu and beyond to Tikoduadua via the Natovi Jetty. Madam Speaker, the maintenance program for Tailevu South and Rewa Delta includes over 1,800 kilometers of grading on gravel roads to keep them serving the purpose for which they were constructed. In addition to this, the authority intends to spend $18 million rebuilding roads that are beyond repair in southern Tailevu and the Rewa Delta region. And let me name a few. These roads are included in our rehabilitation, include parts of the King's Road and the unsealed Longani Sembi Road, Waikete Road, Nanduro Road, Namara Road, Wusia Road. Will be regravelled to provide a better and longer lasting surface into the future. Now, Madam Speaker, without these critical renewal projects, Fiji would continue to suffer from a crippling road maintenance liability into the future. And one of FRA's top priorities is to reduce this ongoing liability to a stable and affordable level. Madam Speaker, this year, a new Wuniwewa bridge on Tikoduadua Road will be rebuilt at a cost of $1.5 million. The route provides a vital link across the area, and the existing bridge is falling down under its own weight. Without this bridge replacement, communities would be severed from each other and essential services. People would have to make much longer journeys, costing them more money. So over the course of 2015, 30 villages along the main roads across Fiji will have new street lighting installed, providing improved safety as well as opportunities for new enterprises along these well-used roads. 8 of these villages are located in the Tailevu province along the King's Road, and also in Wudi Road, one of the main arterial linking communities in South Tailevu, will be provided with new footpaths to allow pedestrians and children to walk along the routes with improved safety and comfort. One of FRA's most important activities in 2015 is the building of new rural roads, Madam Speaker, to provide new access for villages which have been isolated from our transport network. And I'm talking about here villages that are within Rewa and within South Tailevu. But these projects are in the southern Tailevu Delta area. The first stage of a new road along Kiwakamba Peninsula is one of these. This area currently has no road at all, with villages and resorts in the area being entirely dependent on road transport. The village of Namata and Natila will benefit from improved access by the new roads, where there was none before. A section of the Lautata Road frequently cut off by flooding will be improved to allow more reliable access. Madam Speaker, as I noted yesterday, it's not possible to do everything in 1 year. The FRA's planning for its program looks 10 years ahead with a detailed 3-year program to ensure that the pipeline of projects is kept focused on goals and moving through the various stages of projects, investigation, design, and construction. FRA works closely with the Commissioner Central from the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development to ensure that priorities in the region are as closely aligned as possible. We have already started to investigate and plan for other projects in South Tailevu and the Rewa Delta, projects like Rewa Wutia Road and Nambunrao Tadi Access Road, which are under considerations at present. Although they didn't make this year's program, FRA continues to look into the case for moving this up in the list of our priorities. We are all aware that these villages in the lower Rewa Delta are totally dependent on boat access for their transportation needs. Despite the high financial and environmental cost of building roads and bridges in this unique Delta environment, we will work with communities and other agencies to find ways of providing for the access needs of people in these areas. As I say, the reach of FRA's activities is far and wide across Fiji, Madam Speaker. Of course, southern Tailevu and Rewa Delta is no exception. The authority works very hard to understand the particular needs and aspirations of all the different regions and areas of Fiji, whether it is outer islands, mountain villages, river valleys, urban corridors, or in the coastal fringes. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary question.
I thank the Honourable Minister for giving us the information on the Tailevu South and Rewa River Delta area roads. My supplementary question, Honourable Speaker, is on the Rewa Butia Road, which he has mentioned, which covers 11 villages, Madam Speaker. The villages of Nasilai, Butia, Nukui, Lomanikoro, Nambua, Drekena, Nandoi, Wonuku, Tabuya, Narodibo, and the villages of Butia, Moneira, and Monedake. And also, Madam Speaker, it also serves, this road would serve the schools, one secondary school, Rewa Secondary School, and the primary schools of Naili Lili, Rewa District, Butia, and Nukui District Schools. My question to the Honourable Minister is, when would they have this in their budget? Because I know that all Matangali owners of the areas where the road is planned to go through have been given. There are major pipes that are already on the ground. There's dredging that's been done on the river, and I thank the Honourable Speaker for the dredging that has been done. My question is, which budget is he planning to put the Rewa Butia Road, Honourable Speaker? Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, one of the best areas about this reform at the FRA is because the asset management allows for a plan to, give us a plan so that we can address these issues as they occur in our priorities. Obviously, we cannot do all of the roads at any one time because resources would not allow for that. I think for the benefit of the Honourable Member, the Leader of the Opposition, I had noted in my statement is that it's not been planned for this year because projects have already been set for projects that we will commence this year. It is going to be considered amongst the projects that will be looking into 2016 and beyond. I can understand that this has been an area where the road has been cut. So has it been many other areas, Madam Speaker. Government considers all these communities important. If we had the funding, unlimited funding, I'm sure you will see that all this access to those villages that have not had access be done all at once. But I want to assure the Honourable Leader of the Opposition in this House and the members of the community that lie within Rewa, within the Rewa Butia area, that their concerns and their plight is well within our radar. We will attempt at best to come to their aid in the not distant future. I think I alluded to in my ministerial statement yesterday in terms of rural road that we are relooking, increasing significantly the allocation for rural road in 2016 and beyond. And most of these projects that we now are in waiting and have been in waiting for some time can then be brought to the future or can be brought to action sooner rather than later. But obviously that is going to be the subject of the budgetary process, and I as Minister will be pushing for that, as this is one of government's top priorities, access for rural areas. And I hope that when the time comes that this is going to be a part of a budget that is going to be in the support of this whole House. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Honourable Minister for his response. I like the 2016, he said 2016 and beyond budget. I like the 2016, but not so much the beyond. I'd like to thank the Honourable Minister. He is usually a man of his word, and I know that it will be on the 2016 budget.
you.
Thank you.
There being no other supplementary question.
Oh,
That was not a supplementary question, that was merely a acknowledgement of what has been said.
Supplementary questions, Madam Speaker.
Question, Honorable Gandhi.
Looking at the demand of the road upgrading in the rural areas and maritime areas and the capacity, we find that we are into the first quarter of this 2015. My question is whether the 2015 work program can be completed so that 2016 comes, there is no delays or outstanding work by the FRA for those rural and maritime roads to be upgraded. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question. It's general in nature, not specifically for Tailevu South, but and the Rewa Delta. Nevertheless, as I had noted earlier, Madam Speaker, the best part of this is we do have a plan. Nature is something that is beyond everyone's control. The intent of any government when it budgets for an event is go all the way to make sure that we spend these funds in the areas where it is needed and required. The honourable member would be informed and the House would be informed that much of the work that is done around this part of the year is very, very subjected to inclement weather. And this guides very, very much the way that we do our work. In FRA, the first part of the year, particularly around January, February, is the time that we dedicate on reinforcing and restructuring and re-strengthening our plans. We react to certain things that need to occur, but then we take advantage of the good weather to try and push and get all the work done in the meantime. And then that is really built over plan and time, given the capacity and capability available on the market and in Fiji and overseas that we need to do all of the work that we have planned to do for a particular year. So if they do not see any major thing moving right now, that is because otherwise it will be just a way cutting and then coming back to try and repair it. So, but nevertheless, Madam Speaker, the dedication is there, the plan is there, and in alluding to the earlier statement made by the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, government is always committed to things that we say we would do. And then there's no doubt. There are elements out there, the variables that we do not control, but nevertheless the commitment is made.
Thank you. Supplementary question, Honourable Naibu.
We do thank the Minister of Infrastructure for all the work plans that they've planned for the year. And for the question this morning, can he advise the House that the work proposed for the Rewa, Utia, and the areas mentioned in this question, have the contractors been already aligned for this work? Contractors to do the work in this area. Have they already been selected?
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
No, Madam Speaker, that would not be. It's a route that we are considering subject to finances. It is a plan that we've made. We have a process where our board gets to sit and we have a tender committee that discusses that. Obviously, all our investigations have been done. Most of it is done, subject to confirmations. And then the whole process then follows on. The best part that we're trying to do is trying to move the project sooner rather than later. And obviously, when we do that, we will make sure we put all the ticks in the box. But no, it has not been appointed yet.
Thank you very much. And that brings to the end of question time, and it is also the last item in the order paper for today.
With your leave, Madam Speaker.
Sorry.
On behalf of the Minister for Public Enterprises and Public Service, I have a written answer to a written question number 7 of 2015 to lay on the table.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Minister. I thank you all for the discussions today, and I thank the guests that we have at the gallery for your patience. I'm sure you have enjoyed from the expressions on your faces. You've enjoyed today's sitting, and I thank the honourable members for such a vibrant debate that we have had this morning. We will now adjourn this sitting until tomorrow morning at 9:30. But meanwhile, I ask the business committee that we meet at the meeting room straight away so that we finish for the day. Meanwhile, I thank you all for today's sitting, and the House is now adjourned until 9:30 tomorrow morning.